Greetings, YouTube. The U.S. Senate has voted 64 to 32 to support the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. If this were fully passed, Enda, which is what it stands for, would make it illegal to discriminate against someone on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. It's already illegal in the U.S. to discriminate on the basis of race, color, sex, nationality, religion, age, or disability. So this would not be writing new law. This would be just adding two new categories to an existing law. So we already have solid precedents here. This is just adding a couple of new things that really and significantly need to be added. And this is, of course, being fought tooth and nail by the conservatives in Congress. Now, interestingly, 10 Republicans joined this vote. So 10 of those 64 votes were what was considered in the United States traditional conservatives, though I'm sure that they will be lambasted come the 2014 elections as being too liberal, even though even our liberals in America are far, far too conservative. Now, the Speaker Boehner says that, or Boehner, I apologize, he believes that legislation will increase frivolous litigation and cost Americans jobs, especially small business jobs, and that these protections are covered by existing law. Except, of course, they aren't. There are places in the United States you can be fired simply for being gay or being transgender. Flat out. If you fall into one of those categories, because there is no specific protections for you in your state, you're gone. And you can't do anything about it. You don't have a legal leg to stand on. Now, one of the commenters here in this thread, and I'll be linking to the Metafilter thread where I got this information from, also referred to frequently as the Big Blue, because it's a blue background. This is Zombie Flanders. It has an interesting comment to make about the way young people vote and how it affects their future voting habits. It's also worth noting that the way young people tend to vote defines their vote for the rest of their lives. In an increasingly diverse population undergoing economic hardship, why would they vote for a party that, for their foreseeable future, hates immigration, wants to refuse anyone who's not white or male or middle to upper class the right to vote, hates LGBT people, tries to eliminate feeding the poor and children despite all evidence pointing to it being an economic stimulus, and refuses to even attempt a healthcare system that is successful the world over? So, I happen to be in agreement with Zombie Flanders here. I think that the GOP and all their conservative allies, the Blue Dog Democrats, the Libertarians, and the Tea Party, are shooting themselves in the foot. And in the process, they are crippling America. This is insanity. How is not expanding the rights of Americans a good thing? And as far as people losing their jobs, what about the gay and transgendered Americans? Or aren't they Americans? In the minds of conservatives, or if you fall into the category of LGBTQ, are you just not an American? Flat out? So we can just discount you completely? Now, I would love to see this become law. I want to know that my fellow Americans have their jobs protected by their government, and that the bigots and the discriminatory business owners of the world can't just fire them or decide, well, we're not going to rent an apartment to you because you're gay or transgender, or something along those lines. I want Americans to have equal treatment under the law. That's a radical concept for some people in the world today, and that's heartbreaking, because that shouldn't have been a radical concept in 1913, let alone 2013. Until we have equal treatment under the law for everyone, I'm going to be fighting the good fight as best I can in the polling booth and here on my particular channel. And I'm hoping that all my people who comment below will actually get to make comments I can read, thanks to the new changes put in place by Google and YouTube. So, I want to know, do you think that this law should pass? Do Americans deserve the right to be treated equally under the law? Where you live, are there any protections for people from the LGBT community? Or are they thrown out there with the wolves and left to fight for themselves? And would you vote for a politician that fights this law? Would you do what you can in the polling booth to make sure that the future looks better than it does now?